The last part of this unit is looking at equations of circles. Now for the equation of a circle, it's very closely related to the distance formula that we were just working with. So the standard form of a circle, so our equation of the circle that we're going to deal with, is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Now the distance formula is just like this, except it has the square root and it's equal to d. In this case, r squared comes in because we squared everything. H and k are representing the center of our circle, and then r is representing the radius of our circle. So if we look at a problem, it's giving us our equation of our circle, and it wants us to identify the center, the radius, and then graph it. So we're first going to start by taking out our center. With the center, notice that if I have minus h, that's really going to be positive h. So it's sort of the opposite of what's written in the equation. So if I have positive 4 and minus 2, that's really going to be a negative 4 comma positive 2. On the other side of my equal sign is r squared, but when it's asking for our radius, we just want r. So we're going to have to square root this side. The square root of 25 gives us 5. Now when it comes to graphing it, we're always going to start at the center of our circle. So we're going to start at negative 4 comma 2. And then from that center, we are going to count 5 up, 5 right, 5 down, and 5 left. And those are going to be the points on our circle. And then we're going to connect all of those outer points and make that circle. Number 2 is the same way. So we have a minus 7, and then if we look with our y squared, we don't have any other number. If there's no other number written, then that implies a 0. So my center is 7 comma 0. Again, to find the radius, we're going to take the square root of the right side. The square root of 4 is 2. And to graph, we're going to start at 7 comma 0. And we're going to count up 2, down 2, left 2, and right 2, and connect those dots. A couple more examples with number 3 and number 4. The center for number 3 is 3 comma negative 1, and my radius is 7. When I go to graph, I'm starting at that center, and then I'm going to count 7 in each direction and connect the dots to make our circle. As you can see, the circles don't have to be perfect. Just do as much of an arch as you can to connect those dots. For number 4, my center is negative 6, negative 5. My radius is 4. And when I draw that, again, we're counting 4 from the center in every direction. We can also just look at equations and figure out what the center is. Sometimes it'll ask us for a radius, a diameter, but we can also do circumference and area using what we know about circles. So let's start with number 5. In this case, it's just asking for the center and the radius. Again, this center, I'm looking at my h and my k. So in this case, it's 5 comma 1. And my radius, I square root 64 to get 8. For number 6, it's again asking for my center, so I can easily see that that's going to be negative 7 comma 2. But now it's asking for the diameter. Remember, the diameter is 2 times our radius, so I can first start by picking out my radius. The square root of 324 is 18, so I'm going to multiply my radius by 2 to get that my diameter is 36. The same thing is going to happen for number 7. Remember, for our center, if there's no number written with our x or our y, then it's just going to be 0. So 0, negative 10 is my center. And I want my diameter. So we're going to square root 42.25, and that's going to give us a radius of 6.5. When I multiply that by 2, my diameter is 13. Again, number 8, we're going to look at that center, and that's going to be 6 comma negative 11. When I square root my radius, I should get the square root of 80. Now that's not a perfect square, so you're going to write it as a decimal. We can also rewrite it as a square root, and we'll review this another time. But it will be 4 square root of 5. But for right now, I want you guys just dealing with the decimals. So just figure out what the square root of 80 as a decimal is. For number 9, our center is going to be negative 2 comma negative 9. But now it's asking for our circumference. Well, we know that the circumference formula is 2 pi r. So I'm going to first start by finding my radius. I need to square root 196 to find that my radius is 14. And then I can plug 14 into my circumference formula. So it's 2 times pi times 14. When I write that, 2 times 14 is 28, and then 28 times pi should give me 88. Number 10 is also asking for the circumference. So again, after I figure out that my center is 3 comma 0, I can find my radius. My radius, again, this one's written as a square root, but I want you to do yours as a decimal right now. We are going to multiply that with 2 and pi to get our circumference. And our final answer is going to be approximately 35.5. We can also find the area instead of the circumference. Remember that our area for a circle is pi r squared. We're going to find that our radius is 9. So when I plug 9 in, I'm going to do 9 squared times pi and get that my area is about 254.5. Again, we're always going to find that center, and this one is 3 comma negative 4. Our last problem is asking for the center and the area. So our center is negative 7, negative 2. Again, make sure you're writing that as an ordered pair. You're going to take the square root of 108 to get your radius, plug it into your area formula, and we're going to get that it's about 339.3. Again, anywhere you see a square root, ignore that right now. I want you guys focusing on those decimals. The equation for a circle is on your formula sheet, so you don't have to remember that formula. Just remember that H and K are your center and R is your radius.